Good evening and welcome to Ftbsports. As you know, this is the post-match review. We have some guests on. We have in the lower corner, Stitches, obvious Liverpool supporter. We have Mike as usual, and we have Darius. And we've got comments coming through already, and this is the time where I don't like to talk much, and I know I'm going to get wound up. But welcome everybody to the post-match review. We'll go firstly, obviously, Stitches.
What's Good evening, guys. How are we?
Can I say my bit first?
I'm not
What's
speaking
with the long faces?
I'm not speaking yet.
I'm going to listen.
We'll go straight over to Stitches.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the game with that smile on your face? Go ahead, talk.
Job done. Job done. Standard, as expected. What can I say? Good game. But, you know, it happens all the time. You know, Spurs give it all that leading into the game. You know, probably the best Spurs team I've seen for a while. And yeah, I can understand the confidence, but really and truly, your record against us at Anfield, it's been poor. But, you know, you guys came in thinking you were going to do something. I saw the preview show. You know, guys, you can watch that back on the Ftbsports channel. Mike and Sam.
He's
not me. I'm not involved. I am not.
No, let him speak. Let the man speak. He's got his right.
I sat there listening, and I was like, "Wow, these guys really think they're going to come up to my house, to Anfield, and just like run away with 3 points? Like, really? No one's done that in like 65 games, and you think you guys had the minerals to do it?" I was just like, Spurs all over again, innit? Like, you know, things start going well and they start getting carried away. Like, it's taken us almost like 4 seasons on the clock to get to where we are, right? It's been a long slug. It's been hard work, right? And, you know, there was ups and there was downs, and you guys think you could just turn up, and your manager was giving it all of that in the pre-match. You know, he's doing his Jose Mourinho thing. I've just listened to his press conference again, trying to deflect from his team, talking about the fact that Klopp jumps up and down on the touchline, and, you know, trying to say if it was him, it wouldn't happen. Like, he wouldn't get away with it. Like, I don't see what Klopp's done that's wrong. Like, he's trying to get his team going. Maybe Jose
sounds
should...
a bit like you, Stitches, letting out a bit of frustration. It sounds like you was frustrated that we was actually going to come in your house and do something. That's what I think Jose's doing, because
I sound frustrated. Are you sure?
No, I'm not saying you sound frustrated. You're knocking out a lot of frustration.
Thing is,
that's what I'm
Stitches at 1-1 was quiet.
Oh, yeah.
He was nervous.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was rattled.
Was I
Third
really?
hit the post. Should have hit the back of the net.
Let's post screenshots. What was it like at 0-0? There was only one voice in the group chat at 0-0. Like, you two didn't say a word. There was not a peep. There was not a peep. I was there from the beginning to the end.
Like I said,
no chance.
When we upped our game, we took it to you. And as
When
soon
was
as we
that?
took it to you, we
When
scored.
was that? What
was when
was
Son
that?
scored.
Oh, I
Let's
definitely
not
think
forget
in the
it was
second half,
1-1.
no, definitely in the second half, the start of the second half, we were definitely.
I'll give you that.
We let you dominate the game, but you didn't have any.
You let us.
I need a brandy.
You let us.
Oh, no, 100%. Jose Mourinho, even if it was 1-1.
You let us at Anfield dominate the game.
Yeah. Jose at 1-1 did not want to commit. He could have easily committed. You had Reece Williams at the back. I'm pretty sure if Jose commit. This is my point. So you can't take those stats.
He's like that girl you take on a date, yeah? And she, I don't know. Like, you never get anything at the end of the night. That's Jose. That's Jose. You're not getting none.
Listen to him.
He didn't want to commit.
But we've only lost a game this season, and I know what to expect. We would probably give Burton Albion respect in a match against them. So I look at the game.
Are you all right with that though, as a Spurs fan? Like, all jokes aside, I'm just interested. Like, for me personally, you asked me my view in it. My view is I expected this. Right, job done. I'm not even going to celebrate too much. It's nothing major for us. This is what I expect from us.
Hold on. Let's not go too far into this like that. What do you mean? I expected it. When the second half started, you was quiet. You saw what happened when Bergwijn went through. You was quiet. You said nothing, and then you said the next goal will win. You said the next goal will win.
Can I have my say? Say what you gotta say. Yeah, yes. I expected this. I knew you weren't beating us. I knew you weren't beating us. I knew you weren't beating. You even said it yourself. Your head told you in your prediction 1-1. That's the best you could hope for, rationally thinking against us, right? So my head told me we would win. At worst, it will be a draw. That's what it told me. I don't fear you at Anfield. I don't. Honestly.
So were you still confident at 1-1 throughout the game? Were you still confident?
At 1-1.
Are you still confident when Bergwijn went through twice?
Can I talk?
And hit the post? Was you still confident when Harry Kane was almost right in front of the 6-yard box? Hey? Was you confident then? Go on then, say what you got to say. I'm just putting that in there.
Yeah, thanks. I'll talk to Darius. He seems like the only calm person on this woman.
I'm not trying to say too much. The
first 5 minutes, yeah, no lie. The way you lot came out, I was like, right. Hang on, the first 5 minutes, the way you came out, I was like, right, didn't expect this. And then I thought, but that's typical Jose, isn't it? He's going to try and catch us half asleep, straight after the half, see if he can nick a goal, and then camp for the rest of the half. But you know what? We kind of raised our game again. Like, we raised our game again, and there was a little sticky bit, and then it was just traffic as normal. There was a little sticky bit. Like, you know what I mean? Harry Kane got through, then he choked on his lines, you know, slipped over, done whatever.
And that's why you went quiet, because you were shitting.
I'm trying to stay calm. I'm trying to be respectful.
Okay, mate. So what was your excuse then at the start of the game? You weren't saying much either.
Can I take the mic off you now, Stitchy? Because you've had your soapbox talk, and you've said your piece, and that's very good. We'll be
you had a whole 28 minutes of a preview to say you were good. I've had 6 minutes. And you're already all right, cool. Say no more. Go on. Go nuts.
Mike,
Pitches is like a politician here.
Go nuts. I'm giving you the airtime. Go.
I would like Mike to have his view before I come back on some of your points, because you made some relatively good points. There were some not so good.
Relative. So did you on your preview. You made some relatively good points. I started hearing these guys talking about Liverpool going to show some respect to Tottenham and be conservative. I was like,
I was not expecting that.
When have we ever been conservative at Anfield? When?
You had possession though in the first half, but what was you doing with it?
That was my point I was trying to make.
All right.
What did you do with the possession? You had possession, yeah? Oh, no, whoa. Let me finish. You've had your chance.
You said,
what did we do?
No, I'm not listening to it. You've had your chance.
Hold on. We'll come back to Stitches in a minute. I would like Mike to have his
Can I answer his question?
You can't. No, you can't. Let him say his piece, then I'll come back to you in a minute.
What did we do with the possession? 2-1, my friend.
This is what I don't want Liverpool fans. This is what happened. I don't want to listen.
2-1. That's what we've done with the possession.
Mate, you've got...
Mike, could you just give a Spurs perspective on that, so we can have a little balanced view? I know it's 3-1. We're going to have a balanced view, because he's taking up 2 people's time here, and we just need to have a balanced view. So, Mike,
Stitches, I'm going to start calling him a politician, because he acts like a politician here. Here we go. My thoughts on the game. We set out and we started the game how I thought we would start, whereby we sat back. We let Liverpool dominate possession, and you can see the way we set up was to counter Liverpool.
Delusion. We let you.
Continue, Mike. Continue.
Thanks. That worked out well for you. That worked out real well for you.
It could have done, but the first half it did, because the first half it did work out, because the one chance we did get, Son scored.
Did you win the first half?
We didn't lose it.
Okay. That's your aspiration?
Anfield fortress, so I would take a draw at Anfield. So
okay.
I would take the first
half. Did you win the first half?
No, we didn't.
Right, that's it. That's it. The second half, we had chances to win the game. We had chances to Bergwijn hit the post. Kane should have scored, but he didn't. You guys, 90th minute, it's like, how can I say it? It's like a one-night stand whereby you do your deed and you do a runner. That is what Liverpool did at the end. Stole the game.
Analogy, I like that one. Because they like doing runners.
That is us.
It's a hit. You did a hit and run.
It is a hit and run. That's all we need to do.
All right, we'll come back to you, Stitches. Stitches, you've got a lot to say. I know you've got a lot to say, and you can have a little bit more of a say. Then we go to Darius for a more calmer view, because you said he's very calm, because I'm not calm, so I'm not saying much. But Stitches, you have your say now. Go on.
Look, all jokes aside, banter's banter, in it. Like real talk now, real talk. Are you happy with what you're seeing? Because and this is not, let's take out the name of the teams, right? Forget it. As a football purist, right? For me, if you're going to call yourself a top team, you're going to call yourself title challengers or whatever, you can't be doing the 4 banks of 6 and whatever.
Why?
Am I able to take this one? Can I take this one? When you finish, finish and yeah,
let me say my piece in it. My piece is this: the real champions, the top dons, the Dan Gargans, the teams that add up people, they do not do that. They do not do that. Yeah, you are a little pony. That's what your own manager said it. Your own manager said it. He said, we're a little pony. And you're acting like one. If you really want to be, you've got enough in that team, right, to give credit. Yeah, you've got enough in that team to go toe-to-toe with teams and beat them up. You have, right? And until you change that mentality, right, you keep being the little pony. That's my view.
Let me just come in with a little bit to say on that. So, since 2017, and I think it was March 2017, I think they were saying Crystal Palace was the last team to beat. In 3 years, nearly 4, you haven't lost. I think it was about 30. They said 32 teams have come here and won. Or sorry, you've won against 32 opponents at Anfield. Obviously, we were top of the table, and this is what I think it is, because you see that we are a threat, and I generally accept that we didn't play in a way that is beautiful to the eye. But like I said to you before, you don't get no points for artistic impression. There was a strategy, clear strategy. I made some notes earlier. We let Liverpool dictate. They had the possession. You dominated that. We need to maintain some sort of control, which we didn't get. But when you scored, as I said, the game was up. We took it to you. We got our goal back. That was clear to see. What we didn't then do is get the second goal straight away. Now, I think we should have carried on taking it to you. Second half started, and you could see we was having a little bit of a different play. We were trying to get it higher up the pitch. We were trying to win the ball a bit higher up the pitch. And then the Bergwijn chances, the Harry Kane chances. Now, I just want Darius to have his little say. Now, like I said, I want a fair and biased view. Obviously, it's 3-1, but you're talking for 2 Stitches, so it's like 3-2 at the moment. So yeah, Darius, have your.
I'm gonna try and be.
I actually want to hear you talk, right?
Yeah. I mean,
make a point. I don't think you're being fair, because I don't think you guys ever let me finish my point before you're jumping in. But it's cool. Carry on, Darius. It's all right.
Okay, so my thing is, when you look at the grand scheme of things in terms of the entire season, when I look at Liverpool Spurs away, I'm going in with that mindset, and I don't care what you think, because you've created this fortress, this 60-game unbeaten streak. I'm going in with the intention of, okay, we're not probably going to get max points. If we take a point, that's good. So when I look at the Liverpool game and I go into that game and think, okay, we're not going to get a point, but if we win the game, that's a bonus. If we get a point, that's good. If we lose, not that I expected to lose, but we weren't really expected to win. I'm going to be angry at the results, like the Newcastle game. And so the Newcastle game was really annoying, because we shouldn't have lost that game. We deserve to win that game. The West Ham game as well. Those are going to be the games where if we look back at the season and it goes to the end, 38 games, and we look, okay, if Liverpool win the league with a 2-point advantage, we're going to look back and say, okay, we should not have given away that 3-goal lead 80 minutes into the game and 100%. Lost to West Ham. And when I look at the Liverpool game, I think, okay, we've lost the game. Yes, I'm angry that we've lost the game. And I've looked at the game and I'm thinking, yes, Bergwijn could have scored, Kane could have scored. But in the grand scheme of things, if you look at the entire season, I wasn't going in with the intention of winning the game. So the only reason that I'm annoyed about not winning the game is because I saw in the second half that there was opportunities to win that game, and it could have flipped on a coin. If Bergwijn scores that goal or Kane scores that header, I did not really see any threat that Liverpool were going to score as much. The first half, you looked like you were going to score 3 goals. But the second half, I didn't really see. I think Aurier kind of handled Mane quite well. I don't think Mane looked as threatening. I don't think Firmino was really in the game until he scored. Salah was putting balls in the box and Trent was putting balls in the box, but there wasn't any convincing balls being put in the box. There wasn't any... all the saves Lloris had to make was down at his feet. So I was thinking if Bergwijn scores that goal and we continue defending like we did, because again, I think that our defensive players were man of the matches. Again, I'd probably say that Aurier was one of the best players on the pitch. If we keep that defensive stability up, I think we could have got a result. And that's why I'm annoyed. It's not necessarily the fact that the way we play and the style we play, because I'm expecting that. Like we've said, as Spurs fans, we can accept that we've not won anything, and we've played fantastic football with Pochettino, and we've gotten to the very, very summit, but we've not actually reached that summit. So if we're winning games and we've lost 2 games all season, I believe it is, to Antwerp and Everton first game of the season, if it's working, why fix it? And my only point is, at the end of the day, you have to look at Jose and think, okay, Jose, you could have taken that initiative and been more attacking in the second half or even in the first half. But had you have lost the game or had anything that you didn't want to happen had happened, then you would be more annoyed at that result if we had taken it to Liverpool and they had counted the other way and won 2-1 and won 3-1. At least I can say that we've won the game. We've lost the game, but we've got
our second loss has come in Merseyside again on the 13th game. The first game obviously being Everton. That's our first loss, and our second loss has come to you guys on the 13th game. So, Stitches, I'm just looking at some of the things here. You were controlling the game. I definitely agree with you on that one. But in terms of the chances, Lloris made a couple saves, but like Darius was saying, he made things to his feet.
No, easy saves, all to his feet.
We had the better chance.
I was like, oh shit, you know what? I'm scared here. I was comfortable with the game. I was comfortable with the approach. I was comfortable with the strategy. When you don't get the result, you look back at the game overall and you say to yourself, you know what? 76 possession to them, 17 shots to them.
Oh, don't you expect that with a Jose performance like that? Aren't you expecting us to have none of the ball?
Exactly. Going to happen. So what I'm saying to you, Stitches, is do you believe, knowing that's how Jose is going to go into the game, do you think you did enough? Well, obviously you did enough to win the game, but did you look at your team today and think to yourself, yeah, we're miles ahead of Spurs? Because I don't think you're miles ahead. The strategy-wise, you can look back and maybe think to ourselves, yeah, Spurs could have done something and taken it a bit more. But when we had to take it to you, we looked dangerous. What's your thoughts on that?
Fully disagree. Fully disagree.
Really?
I'm just, my opinion on football is different, clearly, to everyone else on this call. Like, for me, if you're the baddest team, go out there and show people, innit? Beat them up.
I get what you mean. I was exactly like you.
We've done that.
See what I mean? As soon as I start talking, I can't get my point across. Like, I sat here quietly.
We don't want to listen to you.
Say, right?
We have to listen to it.
Let me answer the question, right?
Go on.
I see football differently to you lot. I do. Honest to God, right? There was a point when Jose Mourinho could have been manager of Liverpool FC, right? When Rafa came in, it could have been him or Jose. Jose went to Chelsea, Rafa came to Liverpool. I know there's people out there, I've categorically said it. The day Jose Mourinho ever comes and manages my club, I'm going to stop watching football. That's not what I pay all my subscription for. That's not what I go all the way out to Anfield for. That's not what I pay all the money I pay to follow my team around Europe and everything for. I don't pay to watch a great tactical defensive performance. I pay my money to be taken to the edge of my seat to jump up and watch bad boy moves like when Trent just nutmegs Son. That's the kind of stuff I want to see. I want to see edge of the seat stuff, right? So I'm not in for that. So all this, we you had a lot of shots and whatever. I'm the kind of guy that I'd rather lose 4-3 than lose 1-0.
So Stitches, can I ask you a question really quickly?
So Darius, before you come in, I want Mike to say as well some points on this. As a Liverpool supporter, a lifelong Liverpool supporter who's built on success, who's built on all the European successes, who's built on
Can I just interrupt you there? Yeah, I've seen more failure than success following my club. So I'm not one of these deluded fans that expects my team to win all the time. I've not. But I've seen us win. I've seen us lift trophies, but I've seen more of us not getting there. Right. So I'm not there to think that we want to win. No. But what I do expect is that we go out there and we play on the front foot all the time. I'm not down for this. Like, even under Rafa Benitez, people said we were defensive and whatnot. Yeah, we were disciplined, but we attacked. Go on.
I'm just going to finish my point. Your club in itself is built on success. It's built on 19 championships. It's built on 5, 6 Europeans.
6 Europeans.
You compare that to Spurs. last time we won the league was 1961. Yeah, we have no right. We have no right to say we can play this way and expect to win and do all this. We've done that. We had Poch for 5 years playing a certain way of football. We got to the Champions League final. We finished second on 2 occasions with him. We didn't win. I said clearly at the start of this season, I do not give a toss how we play if it's going to be successful. We haven't got to the end of the season yet, and we can't make that judgment as to whether it's going to be successful or not. But the point I'm trying to make is we're second. We've lost to a Liverpool team that has busted everybody up for the last 3 years, have been beating everybody up in the league for the last 2 years.
Comfortably.
And we lost a game. You look back at the whole season, I won't be saying that that's where we lost the league if that's the case. There are other games that's going to happen that's going to probably put us in a position where I could look back and say, yeah, as Darius was saying, the West Ham, the Newcastle, those sort of games. But this is not a title decider, in my opinion. This is just a measure of where Spurs are. And I clearly think that we are on the level, but maybe the football style is definitely different. I agree with you on that point. But Mike,
two things, right? One, keep that energy in it. Keep that energy in it, because that was not your energy in your preview. It really wasn't. Yeah, like real talk, it wasn't your energy. In your preview, you were talking bossy. You were like, yeah, we could go there and get a result. Rare test. Now your vibes all changed. That's what I can't take about you, Spurs people, right?
What's changed about the vibe?
1 minute, right? 1 minute you're like, yeah, you know, this Liverpool team's there for the taking. You know, they haven't looked convincing. I've watched them all season. They ain't look like they're all that. Now you're giving me the whole, for the last 18 months, you've bust up everyone. We've got to come in there and be like, it's like chalk and cheese. It's like chalk and cheese. I don't know which is it. Do you understand? You're changing your vibe. And the second point that I wanted to make, right, is this. That's part of your problem. Right, the fact that your mentality is what you just.
We're confident that we want to win. That we look at we're top of the league and going into the game against you with half your defense missing, thinking that we can't get a result. Of course, we can try and get a result. That's the whole point. That's what the preview is about. It's like thinking about our team and saying to ourselves, we could do something at Liverpool because of what I saw in the previous games and what I've seen against.
What you're saying now is totally different. What you're saying now is totally different. Now you're sitting here saying that we've got to be pragmatic because it's Liverpool and they've bust up people for the last.
Of course, we have to be pragmatic.
You weren't saying that yesterday. You were saying we're there for the taking.
If you listen to the preview, go on, Mike. Sorry, Mike. Go on.
Liverpool were there for the taking because you cannot sit there and say that Liverpool have been as good as they were last season. I mean, you lost 7-2 to Aston Villa. If Aston Villa can beat you, there's no reason why we shouldn't feel confident going into that game, getting a result. And Fulham got a result against you last week. Why can't we get a result if Fulham can?
So why didn't you go for it? Fulham went for it.
So my thing about going for
Villa went for it and got a result.
But you're playing Jordan Henderson centre back in that game, and I think
now you're making excuses.
I'm not making excuses. So I'm not making excuses. My point is, if we decided to play expansive football against Liverpool, I was watching the game. Liverpool's interplay between their players is fantastic. We played 6 at the back, basically, and the way that Liverpool were able to penetrate that defence was to play the ball one touch in between each other and pull out a fullback. It wasn't the right mid who was being pulled out. It was Aurier who was effectively playing on the edge of the 18-yard box, and the interplay was causing Aurier to either come out to press the ball, and it was leaving spaces in behind. So my thing is, the style of play and the tactics weren't the problem. It was just a case, in my opinion, from watching the game, it was just a case of, okay, so I've always said, Liverpool, if you play defensive for 70, 80 minutes and you concede, you can't really get angry at that because it's like you said, it's a mentality thing. It's mentally draining to defend for 80 minutes. But what can get me riled up about the game is the fact that we had the chances. It's not like we were... It's not like we just let you dominate us. We made the stats may say 1 shot on target, 7 shots taken, but realistically, 3 of those shots could have been goals. One of them was a goal.
But all I wanted to say to that point that you're making though is if we're gonna play woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? How many chances did we have? Yes, they ended up with shots. They ended up with shots that was just straight at the keeper. But if we're gonna play woulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda, if Mane had taken a better shot, if this person had done that, it could have been a different game, but it didn't.
But that's football.
Because that's what we didn't.
It's like you guys get to use that, right? You guys get to use that as in that validates your tactics and the strategy that you use. But you totally ignore the fact that we created opportunities. Yes, they weren't as clear cut as yours, and they weren't as gilt edged as your chances. But we also created chances. So I don't understand. It's like you have to deal with the facts.
On that point, had you lost the game 2-1 today, given all you've said, would you still be having the same energy now about your team?
I have the same energy about my team, win, lose, or draw. Right? We play on the front foot. We play on the front foot. We live by the sword. We die by the sword. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you get what I'm saying. Villa. You've talked about Villa, right? Yep. Villa. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. There were shots taken, three deflections, and ended up in the goal. Like, what can you say?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
That's the same.
We could play 100 times against Villa, and that game ain't gonna happen again.
That's the one.
You know what I'm saying? But I would rather. I'm willing to take that. Yeah, for the fact that we do what we do, we come at a team. It doesn't matter who you are. PSG, Bayern, Barcelona. We could be 4-0 down. It doesn't matter. We're coming out there to play, right? And that's what I want to see from my team. So I can't understand how people are satisfied with this. Because to go back to a point that you made, Sam, right? You made a point that you've seen all the nice stuff under Pochettino. You got that close, but you didn't achieve, right? So what happens now if you see all this stuff under Jose, right, and you go that close and you don't achieve? What would you rather have experienced?
So my point again, I'm trying to say to you. No.
This is hypotheticals.
You're talking about a hypothetical scenario.
Exactly. So I'm going to give you the reasons to why that is. As I said, we are not built on the success of Liverpool. You guys could not be satisfied with not winning the league for however many years. It was normal to us. So therefore, going into this new season, having played the nice football under Poch, having got to a Champions League final, having been second, having come third in the 2 horse races, everybody likes to point out. The fact I'm trying to point out to you is we didn't win. So what is the point in playing that fabulous, oh yeah, great on the eye, Eriksen's playing them through balls, oh, Harry Kane's smashing them in, if you do not win? The point I'm trying to make is I don't care how we play now if it brings us success. Long term, hold on. Long term, it's not going to be sustainable with Jose. Everybody knows that. But short term is what we've got to be thinking. We've got to be short term thinking at this moment in time to get that first trophy for us to be able to get steps towards you.
To respond to that point. Yeah, go on, Mike.
I was just going to say, all I was going to say is, we've put and touching upon Sam's comment there, is we've played the beautiful football over the years. Tottenham have always been known to play beautiful football, but what has it achieved us? Nothing, effectively. Right. The odd League Cup, okay, but if Mourinho's football and his tactics, which so far they've been effective,
and that's
if they get us silverware,
20 made trophies previously.
Yeah, I would take effective football over beautiful football if it means we get silverware.
And I'm going to get shut down by enough Liverpool man for saying what I'm about to say. I wouldn't. That's just the difference.
And you know what? I respect that.
I respect that. 100%. That cup would mean nothing to me. That it wouldn't. And the fact of the matter is, we are a living example of sticking to that front foot football and trusting in it and seeing it work. When Klopp came, he was called. When Klopp came, he was called Klopp. When Klopp came, I just said that. Right? Okay. When Klopp came, he was called Klopp the Flop. Why? First season, we got to 2 finals. Next season, we didn't do nothing. The season after that, we got to finals and lost again. Everyone was like, Klopp the Flop. He's never going to win. But we always played front foot football. Now look where we are. Last season, we cleaned up. The thing is,
you must have been really unhappy under Roy Hodgson. Just to point that out, because when he was there, because he's very,
I couldn't watch it. I could not watch it.
That's fair enough.
I could not watch it.
And how much?
Even under Brendan Rodgers, I was upset. I was probably one of the only fans that was upset because I didn't believe in him. I thought he was a pretender. I thought to myself, this doesn't look like it's going to last. It looks like it's a perfect storm of Suarez, Sterling, Coutinho, and Sturridge, right?
And so played very well under Brendan.
As soon as we lost one of those or a couple of those, it all fell to pot. Look at Klopp. He's had lots of players come out of injury or whatever, and we're still managing to produce. And guess what? We're not changing our football. We're not trying to park the bus to say, oh, let's be pragmatic. We've had Van Dijk out and we've got to do this. We've still played our way. And this is what I'm saying. It's about having a philosophy.
Can I ask Darius a question? Are you happy? And so I will come back to you. I know we're going through this, and this is really good because this is what I want. I want the energy, but there are things I have to pick up on you with this. But Darius, do you think if this season, if we are unsuccessful with Jose, we don't win anything, do you think that he would have to go at the end of this season?
Yes, solely because you have to look at Jose's history. Like when Jose first joined, and Sam will be able to tell you, I did not like what I was seeing. I'm like you, Stitches. I watch football to enjoy watching football. I want to see interplay. I want to see phases of play. I want to see attacking. I want to see front foot football. But that's only useful to me if I know that we're going to get somewhere. And we were getting somewhere with Poch, and I was backing it. But when Jose came, I didn't see us getting anywhere. Now we've got this season. Now we're into the new season. We've got our signings. We've got a good team, not a team like Manchester United, where when Jose joined Manchester United, he bought a lot of players in their prime and almost in the twilight of their careers. At least now, like if Jose doesn't do what he needs to do and win us a trophy, even if that happens, we have a squad where if we were to bring in a manager that was to play football that resembled Klopp, so if we were to bring in a Hassan Hüttl, if we were to bring in anybody like that, Jesse Marsh from Salzburg, any manager who plays front foot attacking football, we've got a squad that can assimilate to that tactical style a lot quicker now. Because there's no, in my opinion, the squad's not drastically different to Poch. The core of the squad is still there. They all played Poch style football and Jose style football. The new players that we've brought in, no player is older than 28, apart from Joe Hart, who's a keeper. So everybody's in their prime. Højbjerg's 25, Bergwijn's 23. Everybody who has joined, if Jose was to leave and this wasn't to work out, at least I know the manager that comes in, whatever style of play that they're going to implement, we've either seen it before and it's going to work, or at least I know the squad is.
You're just breaking up there. But I'm just going to carry on that point. Just to say that. So Jose's been given the title of head coach for a reason. He's not being given the manager title so he can bring in, these players, the Fellaini's, the over-the-hill players, going out and getting a John Terry type player who's 35, bit of experience, the Cahills and all that. He's not been allowed to do that because Danny Levy has clearly seen that is not a long process or the right process for us to be successful, given the fact that Jose is a short-term manager. Let's not forget that. I'm not even going to stand here or sit here and tell you that I think Jose is going to be here for 5 years. I don't believe.
Did you see what he said in the press conference?
He won't be here for 5 years. He's going to be here for short-term. We know that.
He said recently in a press conference, he actually said that he wants to. He was looking to be here for the long term. But again, I just think that's all talk. You just know that's not going to happen.
Jose has this. Sorry, I was just going to say, Jose has a lifespan. It's very similar, very different philosophies, but very similar to how Guardiola has. He puts in so much into the way that he wants the players to play that it's draining. You can see it's draining for these players to have to play under this way for 2 or 3 years. For a season, and it's successful, you'll get the bounce to be able to say, oh, well, we did that. We can go into the next season. Once it doesn't work, it becomes a problem. And even if it does work,
that, to be honest,
yes.
I don't think it's that. Sorry, go on. I was just going to respond on your Jose 2-3 year thing. I don't think it's that he puts so much into the players and gets them to play. I think he does do that, but I think the reason he can't be at any club for long is because he's toxic, right? His way of doing that is that he has people who he it's like he has a circle, and then he has players who are on the fringes who he treats like shit. And the fact he treats them like shit, it filters. It's like bullying. Like, do you know what I mean? And you can see it with certain players like Dele Alli, and all the fans will be okay with it right now because it's just one player. But when it starts happening to 2 or 3 players and they're still in and around the changing room, it becomes toxic around the club. Look at every single club that he's been at, right? It's an air of toxicity that ends up with him leaving. It's not that the players are drained mentally. It's just he's had victims or people that he picks on at his clubs, and it creates an atmosphere of a bad vibe.
So what Jose would say to that, what Jose would say to that is the players that are on board with me are on board with me. You speak to the majority of players that he's had at all those previous clubs, and they will tell you that they loved Jose. They loved him. The ones that didn't get on with him are the ones that weren't prepared to do what he asked them to do. Those are the problems. It's not the players who play for him. No, it is definitely, because I've read interviews. I've read interviews with certain players at Inter Milan. I've read interviews with people at Real Madrid. I've read interviews with all these players, and they've said exactly the same.
So it's not Jose Mourinho.
He's a manager that has a way of playing, and his way of playing doesn't suit everybody. He doesn't.
The toxic culture, then, it's nothing to do with Jose. It just seems to happen at every club that he goes to.
No, it's not.
Players don't follow it.
It's
I mean,
a short-term process.
At Man United, right? At Man United, in pre-season, look at the way he was treating these players, right?
And he got them second.
And he got them
two other trophies.
And he got the 23-year-olds.
Two other trophies.
He had the young players out playing, and what did he say to them?
Phil
he said,
Jones was Chris Smalling
these players will never play for this club, right? Who says that? Do you understand? Let's go back to Chelsea. He was at Chelsea. He was out in certain players. He treated the physio woman like doo-doo, right? And stuff. He's just a toxic guy. I wouldn't want him at my club. I wouldn't. And like, I know he's your manager. You got to back it, right? So I get it. Like, you got to make yourself feel better by the fact that he's at your club. But I guarantee when he leaves your club, he will be leaving under a cloud of toxic, like, breakdown. There's going to be a problem as to why he has to leave. That's Jose's MO. That's Jose's MO.
But with that,
go on, Mike. Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, with that whole point about not playing youngsters and stuff, he's fielded youngsters already for us.
That wasn't my point.
But you mentioned that.
Yeah, but see, you didn't hear what. Let me say it again. At Man United, pre-season, he had to play a bunch of youngsters because he had a lot of injuries and players who hadn't come back from, I think it was the World Cup on time, right? They had an extra long break, right? And those players played, they didn't perform. And the way he talked about them in the press conference after was, these players would never play for this club again, blah, blah, blah. That's the way he manages, right? Okay. Now, for me, if I'm a senior player in the club, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, that's unfair. Do you know what I'm saying? That's something you can't do that to these players. They're in their developmental phase. They're learning the game. That's not that style of management is gone with the dinosaurs.
Okay, so the alternative,
you've got to be a bit more of a man manager these days. And I just think that Jose, his ego doesn't allow it. It doesn't allow it to happen. So after 3 or 4 years,
you're not going to let me say my piece now, are you? Go on then.
Well, because you're cutting me in the middle of what I'm trying to say, innit? Like, let me finish my sentence.
The thing with Mourinho, though, he's still, however you look at it, he must be doing something right because he's the most successful manager in the game at the moment, isn't he? Is there? Well, he won the. What did he? That Man United.
His last job, he won the Europa League.
He won the Europa League, League Cup, and the Charity Shield in one season.
Phil Jones and Chris Smalling as a centre back, and Marian Fellaini as a holding midfielder. Let's not get it twisted. I'm going to say my point now. So going back to what you said, is it you're saying that because he's got a way of handling players that you don't like, that's wrong? Alternatively, we've got someone like Mikel Arteta who's giving group hugs to every single player he can, not wanting to throw people under the buses. And where are they? My point is he's a very clever manager. He's not been in the game 5 minutes. He knows what he's doing. He's been at the biggest clubs in the world and been successful at all the clubs he's been to. And let me just finish the point.
Words in my mouth. So, okay, you put words in my mouth. You're saying things that I didn't say, but okay, go for it.
And therefore, if a man who's got the experience that he has and seen how it works in big clubs, you cannot keep every person happy at a big club. You can't even keep everybody happy at a small club. There are players who are not going to like his methods. There are players who are going to say, I don't like this form of training, but there are going to be some players that are going to love it. 80% to 90% of our players at this moment in time are loving the way Jose is approaching things because it's successful. If we were 10th and he was playing this way, you probably have a lot more people saying, what's going on here? But down the road in North London, where they're getting group hugs from Arteta, and he's telling them, I don't
get they are.
They are, because he's saying to them, he doesn't blame the players. He doesn't put it on the players. What I'm saying is the mentality of players at in our team previously were not strong enough. So when you put it on them and they flake, Sanchez, you put it on him, he flaked out. Hence the reason why he's now out the team. He's not playing. He's put it on Tonga Ndombele, and he's come through. He's been one of our better players this season. So you cannot tell me that the way he manages is affecting every person. It affects some of them, and those are the ones that have the weak mentality. Go on.
Okay, his track record speaks for itself. I don't really care. Keep him forever if you want, right? But if you go back and you look at Jose's track record, what I've said speaks for itself. I don't care. I'm not a Spurs fan. Like, you don't need to defend him to me. Keep him. Be happy with him. But I've seen how this story went. Don't try and convince me. Don't try and convince me. There's no need. Like, I'm happy with my manager.
We know he's not going to be there forever. He ain't going to be there forever. He's a quick win.
Giving out group hugs, but I'm sure there's players in that team that will tell you that they're not getting group hugs from him. You know what I'm saying? So you can ignore that if you want, and think it's all get along gang at your club, which is fine. That's all right. It's good. It's all fine. But for me personally, Jose's not someone I'd want around my club. And if he came to Liverpool, I would stop watching. I'd support my club from far. I wouldn't pay all the money that I pay for my membership. I wouldn't be going around Europe.
Come and support Tottenham.
I would not be watching them, right?
Darius,
and it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
So Darius, if like what Stitches is saying, and Jose was at Liverpool, but was successful with it and won a European trophy and won the league the way he's playing, and Stitches is not watching, would you go on a trophy parade? Would you go on the open bus top parade? Because I certainly would. I wouldn't give a toss. I'd be going out there doing all of this, properly doing that. Because
really difficult. I think it's really difficult because you have to, with Tottenham is incomparable to any of your big six teams because at the end of the day, I am a realistic Spurs fan. I've supported Spurs since 2008. I barely remember us winning that. Was it the Carling Cup in 2008, wasn't it? I barely remember us winning that trophy. So for me, right, my mentality going into every season is we aren't probably going to win anything. So with Jose Mourinho, I'm willing to give that a go. I'm willing to give that a go and see if it works out just because we haven't won anything. And I understand where you're coming from, Stitches, in the point of, yes, Klopp has created a style of football. What Klopp does that's best with his team is, even if you're not in the first team or even in the first 13, he will have that arm around you and he will make you say, you're still important. Hence why Origi was literally lauded as a legend because he scored 2 goals in the Champions League and then 1 goal that wasn't even really that much of a decider in the final. It's one of those things where he will make you feel like you're more important to the team. And that
didn't work out so well for Daniel Sturridge, though, did it?
But that's the thing, though. At the end of the day, you have to. For me, I if it was me and I was Klopp, I wouldn't put my arm around Origi. I'd do what Mourinho does. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough. Because there was times where Werner was literally, he was on his knees for Liverpool. He was like, I want to come to Liverpool. I want to join Liverpool. Had you signed Werner and fucked off a couple of the two, the Deadwood players like Shaqiri, Origi.
Glad we didn't get.
I mean, that's a different story. I think Werner. Again, sorry guys. I think Werner would.
Upside down. Oh yeah.
I think Werner would literally in the Liverpool team wouldn't look as average as he would in Chelsea. Systems help players. Werner in that Liverpool system, maybe down the left, maybe down the middle. He would do what I think he would be playing how Jota would be playing because you've got a coach like Klopp who's going to get the best out of you. I don't think Jota does as well if he joins Chelsea. Do you think Jota does as well if he joins Chelsea?
Not necessarily.
The important point that you made just at the end was he gets the best out of players. I just want to come to Mike, and I'll come back to you, Stitches. Mike, again, just on the same sort of point. If we were successful the way we're playing this season, would you be happy with it?
Yes, on the basis that I've supported Spurs since I was about 6, which was in the early 90s, 1990, and from that moment up until Pochettino, we've had periods of like seasons go by whereby we've played beautiful football, or we've played football and it's not been to our taste. We've got rid of the manager, found someone. They've played more to the style that Tottenham's used to, but we've not had the success that we as a club want. So if Mourinho comes in and plays effective football whereby we are getting the results and it makes us successful for a short period of time, given the project that Spurs were sort of selling to us fans with the stadium, with getting new players, etc., I will take effective football if it means we get the silverware that we crave for.
Especially as being Spurs fans as well, especially being Spurs fans who have not seen anything for 12 years.
Yeah, and we know, and no one needs to tell us.
He's not having it. He's having none of this.
Mourinho. No, hold on. We know Mourinho isn't here for the long haul. Every fan in football knows Mourinho will be here for the tops 3 seasons, and then he will go. But if he wins us, whatever cups it might be, whether it's Europa, whether it's FA Cup, whether it's League Cup, whether it's the league, whatever it might be, if he's successful and provides us with the silverware that we want, I'd be like, you know what? If Mourinho leaves under a cloud, I don't really give a shit. As long as I see silverware in our cabinet, I'd be like, you know what, Mourinho? Thanks very much. See you later. Let's bring in the next manager.
And we'll be doing this. Thank you. You haven't left us in a bad state. You've left us with a few trophies and some players that can continue to develop and adapt to, because this is the point. We're adaptable. You've seen clearly that they've been playing under Poch. We haven't made that many changes. They were clearly playing under Poch in a certain way. They've adapted to the way Jose's now playing. Yeah. So, Stitches, I want to come to you because, like I said, we've been on here 45 minutes and I want you to have the last word. It's only right since you are the winner of this.
Say it again, I didn't hear you.
I don't like you. I don't like you.
I love you too, bro. No hope.
But no, we'll come to you because I want you to have the last word, because you have been victorious tonight, and you've been 2 people, and I rate you for that. I did want to get some more Liverpool fans, but I think they were a bit too shook to come on. They probably want to come on now because they've won, but they were all like, "Oh shit, I don't know."
I told you for way before the game. Listen, win, lose or draw, I rep my team. Like, you know what? There's a couple of points you made that I want to touch on real quick. Yeah, like I said, be all team Mourinho and jump on the Mourinho train. It's all good. Jose, Mourinho, all of that. Have it. Right, it's brilliant, right? I'm not for that, right? I'm not for that, and I'm not speaking for any other Liverpool FC fans but myself. Yeah, the way we win matters to me more than us winning, right? Not every team can win. There's a way it needs to be done for me. And I'm guaranteed I would not be celebrating if we won something in a way that wasn't like what I felt my team needed to be like. Do you understand? And I swear down on that, right? Other people are going to disagree. It's not a LFC fan thing. I know people were like, 30 years, we got to lift that trophy. But I'm so glad Klopp done it. So glad Klopp done it, because that means more to me. That means more to me. And to talk about Werner, you mentioned Werner, right? Again, I was the only one out of any Liverpool fan that I knew that I said Werner's not the one.
But what was your reasoning for that? And
I'll give you the reasoning for it. But first of all, what I will say is this. I'm all over whatever Klopp decides, right? Because their transfer policies they've not failed. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when they signed
over £1 billion spent, haven't you, for transfers? Spurs don't have that.
How much did we sell? How much did we sell to get that though? Like, we can do this all day. Like we sold players. You sold players and brought in money, and then you bought shit. That's not our fault. Do you know what I mean? When you sold Gareth Bale and you sold, how much money did you make?
This is going into another show.
This could last 2 hours.
We're not going to go into another show. I want you to kind of like wrap things up, Stitches. We're not wrap it up by going back to 2013.
Well, you brought it up.
I didn't bring it up. I wanted you to say your piece, and then whatever happened.
Klopp's only been successful because he's had the funds to buy the players that he's needed. I think Liverpool spent since 2010. He spent over £1 billion.
Where did he get the funds, Mike? Where did you get the funds?
Yeah, but I'm not. Regardless of where you've got the funds,
you sold players.
You have.
You made players good. Then he sold them for a lot of money. He brought some other players.
Remember that, Stitch is a Billy.
Yeah,
over £1 billion.
And how much did he bring in?
I'm just saying. Why are you attacking me? I'm just saying.
And I'm just saying too. Like, let's have both sides of the argument, innit? You want to talk about $1 billion, but you've got $1 billion in your account because you sold some goods, right? So why can't you spend the money that you've made? It makes sense.
Nobody said you couldn't.
Yeah, but you haven't developed those players. You've brought them in.
I was going to give my reasons as to why I didn't think it was going to work. All other Liverpool fans think it would. Werner is a gunman. If you get the ball in front of him, in front of goal, he's got to do a one-touch finish, bang, goal. He's going to score more times than not. The way Liverpool play, right, our forwards have to be able to do things from deeper positions on the pitch. Get the ball, moment of magic, beat 3 men, link up play, get in the box, do a bit of magic, score a goal, right? I didn't see enough of that from Werner before, right? And I watched him in the Bundesliga. I didn't see it. He's a guy who needs to be created for. And with the way teams set up against us, where they have that 2 banks of 4 and they play real deep, he's not going to get that opportunity to run onto the ball and like be running in behind defenses a lot. So for me, I was like, no, I'm not sure he's the kind of striker that we need. Do you know what I'm saying? And I just didn't think it would fit. A lot of people disagreed with me. They disagreed with me, and like that was just my opinion. That's just how I read it.
So we're all getting less emotional now, and I want to go around the room or the screen to get the final word. And Stitches, I'm going to come to you last. So Mike, just in summary, how you thought, or no, maybe looking at the game as a whole, and given all the results previously, how do you think the players are going to respond and react to this going into the game at the weekend against Leicester?
There's only one way they can respond, and that's just get back to winning again. I think that's as simple as that. They can't. I think they just got to put this result behind them, because at the end of the day, it was a 90th minute winner. There's nothing they can do with that. I mean, Firmino hasn't popped up and scored goals recently, so I mean, it's just typical that he's notched the winner in the 90th minute. So I think you just have to take the result, put it to bed, learn from it, and we just move on and start that with Leicester.
Yeah, cool. Darius, a summary from you?
I don't really have much to say on the matter. I just think my intention of going into the game, however people perceive that opinion, I think that we weren't really meant to take anything from this. Don't think we should have. I think we should have won now, watching the game and seeing the chances we had. But in the grand scheme of things, if we look back at this at the end of the season and Liverpool are to win and they are maybe 2-3 points ahead of us as a result, I won't look at this game as the main reason we've lost the league or whatever happens. This will not be the game that makes me think, yeah, if we've got a result out of that, yeah, we could have done something. No, that's my only point. I think Liverpool deserve to win. It's a Jose style of play, so you're obviously going to have a lot of chances. But yeah, looking at it in the grand scheme of things, it's frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah. And also, we do have a good enough team to bounce back from this and get results. So we've got the best defense in the league. So yeah.
Well said. Stitches, you can now speak for the other person that's there with you, because you've got 2 people, it's you and somebody else. But you'll have the last word alongside your other person.
Someone else.
Oh, you're speaking for 2 people. You are. You've been quite good. I like that. But
well, that's all right, because I'm speaking against 3, aren't I? So
Go on, mate. Go on.
Pleased with our team. We showed our true faces tonight. Played on the front foot. Played some of our sharp passing, what I expect to see from my boys. Very proud of the way the team's performing this season. Had a couple of bleeps. It's a compressed season. Like, the work rate that our players put in, they're going to get fatigued. So you're going to get games like Fulham. You're going to get games like maybe not Aston Villa, because I don't think that's going to happen again. But the Fulham games, you're going to get games like that where we're just not at it. And it's going to be a difficult season. But the character, we've shown champion spirit so far to have dealt with all the setbacks that we've dealt with. Regardless of who you are, everyone didn't expect us to be where we are right now. We're sitting at the top of the league. It's got to be ominous for the rest of the league, because players are going to start. Thiago still to come back. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to make a massive impact. So I'm very pleased with where we are. Great game today. Great result. Now let's take it on to the next game. Do you know what I mean?
Who's Liverpool's next game? Sorry, who is Liverpool's next game?
Do you know what? I couldn't tell you right now. I was focused on this Tottenham game. I really was.
That's sad how much you were focused on it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I was,
this is why.
And I'm not. Hang on, let me finish. Let me explain why. It's not to do with the fact that I fear Tottenham or anything. I don't. Right? It's the fans. It's the fans. Like, the Tottenham fans really have a way to get under my skin, because on one hand, they played with a little club card and no one expects anything from us. But then on the other hand, they give it the big one, right? They give it the big one. I'm just like, which energy is it? Are you a little club or are you not? Because you carry on like you're not.
Huh? Why can't we be that little club with a big energy?
Be consistent. Consistency brings confidence.
Stitches.
Was give us summary. And look, he's going back. He's wants us. Why? Why you?
Everyone else had their talk and they got to finish. Mine happens and I start getting attacked. Go ahead.
Stitches. Why can't we be?
Man,
why can't we be a little club with big energy?
Well, because I'm not saying you can't, but keep the energy. That's what I said. Keep the same energy. Don't one hand when you win, give it the big one, and then when you lose, go like, oh well, it's little old Spurs. We weren't meant to do good.
No, mate. I think you get confused with our energy. Our energy is consistent.
Same energy. Like you go on like your big boy. So stay there. Like. And to be honest,
don't let him do it to you. Don't let him do it to you.
Consistency breeds confidence, right? And I personally, it's not an attack. It's just a bit of advice. That's part of the Spurs problem because you keep flip-flopping between, we can mix it with the big boys or no, we're little old Spurs. Decide which one it is you want to be and then act accordingly, right? Because your club's not doing that. And that's why you just have this inconsistency. If you believe you're a big club, you can be a big club.
In my opinion, we can't say that.
Thank you for that. That's really nice of you to say that.
Nah, I think it'll all be dependent on if and when we win a trophy. Because, like I said, this is a results-based game. So if we next year we have this conversation and we've got not even a Premier League, because like I said, nobody expected us to win the Premier League. But if we have a Europa League and maybe an FA Cup, I can be confident and say, we are making progress because we've actually
won. Is that what you want from Jose? You want an FA Cup and a Europa?
No,
this is what I'm saying.
I'll take it.
We have to wrap up soon because this guy, he knows what he's doing. I can see what he's doing. I'm not having it. I know what you're doing, Stitches. We'll talk, me and you, because I know what you're doing. Well, like I said, it's been a really good show. It's been amazing in terms of being wound up by Stitches, and he's on his own, and to maximum respect for coming on here on his own, promoting his team, backing his team, giving us all the facts about his team, and they won as well, Spoot, so we can't really say anything. So as I said, we've been on here 50 minutes. I want you to like, subscribe, share, comment, all the rest of that stuff. FTB Sports. Thank you very much again, guys. Thank you very much to Stitches. Thank you very much to Mike. Thank you very much, Darius. We'll see you both again. We'll probably see Stitches at some point as well, but we don't want to see him too soon. But thank you very much. See you later.
Nice one. Thank you so much.
You guys later.